Hi guys, so before you get into the video, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. This is my first video, so let me know what you think, what type of content you want me to do in general as well, if you want me to go into more in-depth analyses or a specific topic that you're interested in me covering. I was thinking about even doing like a full analysis on the victories that progressives had since getting into office, but yeah, I'm open to any recommendations. So last week was Democratic National Convention, and there were a lot of ups, a couple of downs, but mostly it ended up just basically being a big party for Kamala Harris and her accepting the official nomination to run for the president for the Democratic Party. Personally, for me, one of my favorite parts was the fact that AOC and Bernie Sanders got some primetime speaking slots in the Democratic National Convention. You would think this is a good thing, right? Most people would think this is a good thing. You'd think that people would be happy, but there were definitely some loud voices on Twitter that felt otherwise. I don't know if you're currently on Twitter. I hope you're not, because choosing to be on Twitter is like choosing to have, stage 5 terminal brain cancer. Every single second that you're there longer is the second that your brain cells want to die. But if you have, you probably saw what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, here, I'll read you some of the tweets. I'm sorry to the folks I fundraised off, pushed it to phone bank and door knock. To the people I told that AOC, as a brand new Congress and Justice Dems recruited candidate, would bring change by challenging the status quo. From ruckus to opportunists, I'm beyond disappointed too. Turns out everyone who hated AOC this entire time were correct. This is not what left building power looks like. This is what co-optation capitulation to power looks like. Trying to build within the Dem party will never look like anything but getting to the table and having nothing to show for it. If a party that is currently supporting genocide is chanting your name, you are doing something wrong. Bernie and AOC are the biggest traitors of the working class in modern history. Listen, I understand the Democratic Party is not perfect, it has its flaws, and I understand that it's disappointing to feel like your candidates of your choosing are not pushing as hard as you would like them to. I can understand all of that. But to say that they have nothing to show for their progressive values and ideals, and that they're basically haven't really done anything, is just wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. I don't know if you guys remember 2016. I remember 2016. I remember when Bernie first ran for presidency. If you repeated any of his ideas or policies towards people would look at you like you were crazy. They'd be like, Bernie Sanders? No, he's kind of kooky. He's like, that social Marxist crazy person. He has to get in touch with reality. He has to be more realistic about everything. I would never think that 8 years later, you would be able to speak about the things that he's spoken about for his entire career, by the way. He has not really shifted on anything policy-wise since the beginning. Like, they've been pretty damn consistent in general. You would never expect that to now be basically mainstream talking points for the Democratic Party. Talking about having a universal child tax credit, canceling student loan debt, being able to talk about putting price caps on insulin and other life-saving medication, and being able to bargain with Big Pharma when it comes to those prices. Those are talking points that would have never entered the mainstream, nor action would have ever been taken on them if it wasn't for Bernie Sanders, if it wasn't for AOC, if it wasn't for progressives essentially leading the charge and saying these issues are important and we have to do something about them, which we have, even with Republicans constantly trying to stop us every step of the way. So yeah, to say that nothing has been changed is not true. It's not reflective of reality. And if you think that your candidate of your choice getting to the big stage, getting to be now more accepted by establishment Democrats because, their ideas are good, their policies are good, they have gained popularity, they have swayed and persuaded people to believe in them. If you think that somehow just giving into the status quo instead of changing the status quo, then you have lost the plot. You have purposely decided to put on a blindfold so that you could not see where the plot is. You have a map, literally, with an X marks a plot, and you decided to burn it instead. You decided to be like Velma, literally without your glasses. You cannot find the plot. I can't find my plot. I can't find my plot. Like, please, get real. These wins are changing people's lives. Now, is that to say the Democratic Party is perfect? That this is, peak, we should leave it here, we should just all be happy? Obviously not. There's still work to do. There's still more programs to pass. There's still better policies, positions we can take, especially when it comes to what's going on in Gaza. But we cannot pretend that there hasn't been strides made in the name of progress, especially because of progressives. Like, I don't know how else to phrase it. Progressives won. They won. They got to be on the major table. They got to sway literally the entire Democratic Party's platform. This is not the same Democratic Party as 8 years ago. And you could literally just look at the policy differences from then and now and how much has changed. And that's good. We should be proud of that. We should be happy about that. I don't know if it's people who are just not used to winning, or I don't know if it's people who are genuinely part of a psyop. But if you are saying that none of these policies matter, or that they're not of important significance whatsoever, that both parties are essentially the same, I need you to take a second. I need you to stop. I need you to stop, and I need you to slow down. And you really have to think about what you're saying when you're making these claims. Because, first of all, you're not immune to propaganda. I think there is a good amount of people online trying to convince you that your vote doesn't matter, essentially, that both parties are basically the same. It's no big deal. Like, well, who cares? It's still the same system, so why give a fuck, right? I really think those people are trying to either put Republicans in power or have drank in too much of their Kool-Aid. Because those policies have affected people's lives for the better. You can't pretend they haven't. They are literally policies that have a direct impact on how people live their day-to-day life and have helped the working class, have helped, people struggling. So to say that there's no difference is just not in tune with reality. To say that we should do nothing at all because it's all on the same system is essentially admitting defeat. Just stay at home, do nothing. And if that was the case, if your vote really didn't matter, Republicans would not be trying so hard to take it away every step of the way, okay? That just wouldn't be happening. But no, there's a reason why there is an effort in making it harder for people to vote. And there's a reason why people are kicking and screaming when it comes to these policies and trying to block them from the other side. And it's because if people benefit from these policies, if people are able to live better lives because of these policies, if they're able to see that the government can in fact be a force of good instead of bad, they're going to demand more of it. They're going to demand a government that is, more for the people. And obviously, there's some people that have invested corporate interest in policies that are not for the general populace, but for themselves instead. I'm not saying you have to love the Democratic Party and that has to be your favorite and you have to think everything there's perfect and beautiful and that there's no work to be done. No, the only way things get better is if we analyze them and criticize them where criticism is due. But what I am saying is that you also have to give credit where it's due. And I think Bernie Sanders and AOC and the squad and progressives as a whole deserve credit for bringing these ideas into the mainstream, which includes people in the DNC chanting their name, because god damn it, they deserve it. After years and years of being pushed aside, treated as if they're just crazy, as if they're just idealists, they've been able to make some real change. And yeah, I think that's pretty good.